Of course, it's another housing estate because we have we said that we would be building three estates of affordable housing this term. We've already announced two of them. We've announced the San Centenary Terraces and Bob Belisa Mews, and this is the third one. Therefore, this is the new estate in the wave of the three affordable housing estates that we'll be building in this term of office.
Well, the reality is, of course, that no estate has been built in this term of office. The term of office will come to an end, and three have been announced, repeatedly announced, but we haven't seen a brick being laid.
Well, of course, we need to announce these estates, and the process of sale needs to begin. The process for sale for San Centenary Terraces already commenced in December of last year. We announced Bob Belisa Mews a couple of weeks ago, and the sale of that will commence on the 8th of July. And we've today announced the Chatham Views estate, and the sale of that will commence in August. We need to work on the sites of each. We've already explained in relation to each site what needs to be done at each site before construction commences. At San Centenary Terraces, as you know, we need to first of all construct the revetment on the eastern side. Naturally, we cannot commence that now because we're in the summer season, so we have to wait for the beach goer, our beach season to finish before we can commence there, but we'll commence that once that has passed. In terms of Bob Belisa Mews, as you know, the construction will go on the site of the old electricity generating station. Now, as soon as that is decommissioned, there needs to be a demolition of that site, and there needs to be decontamination of that site before we can start construction. And the current estate, which is in the site of the current West Side School, and as you know, school finished on Friday, so it's a question of vacating that school, demolishing the existing building so that works can commence in the last quarter of this year.
And for people wanting to buy one of these flats, they now have a choice of three different estates. They'll want to know which one's coming soonest.
They will more or less be delivered within the same time frame. There will be, there may be a question of months or half a year between them, but really I think that the fundamental question that people need to be asking themselves when they apply is what location they want to choose, because we're building homes for life. We want people to buy these homes, and stay there. That's why we're giving people, that the size of the flats are big enough that people can grow into them. And it's about buying a home where you want to continue to live. So really you need to make the decision whether you prefer to live at the beach or whether you prefer to live closer to town.
People waiting for a call for San Centenary Terraces. We hear a lot of people waiting for the call. Would they be penalised in any way if they now say no to San Centenary? Say that they're top of the housing list and they say no to Hassan?
Well, in relation to San Centenary Terraces, I know that GRP have already called in excess of 300 people. The answer to that question will depend on whether people have already entered into purchase agreements or not. If you've signed your purchase agreement, then you're bound by the conditions of those purchase agreements. If you haven't yet been called and you think you prefer to live in one of the other locations, then, people are free to apply to the other estates. But like everything else, it will be the luck of the draw. The criteria and the priority criteria will remain the same. So, for example, the first group of people to be called will be people who are government tenants who will release the property upon allocation of the affordable housing. So that means that the people who fall into that class, into that category of the allocation criteria, will always be the priority allocation criteria to be called, regardless of which of the estates it will be.
Criticisms that the houses are not affordable, what would you say to that?
I would say that the houses are indeed affordable and that the figures demonstrate that they are. To take an example, at San Centenary Terraces, which will offer us 665 flats, we've had in excess of 2,400 applications. That's almost 4 times the number of applications than we have flats. That means that there is genuine interest in acquiring these, and I think that demonstrates that we have pitched the prices right as they are to generate this interest. Now remember that people also have the option of buying these flats on a 50-50 basis. They will not be at a disadvantage for buying it at a 50%. There will be no advantage gained from buying at 100%. So that means that everybody has the opportunity of purchasing these flats at 50%. These flats are cheaper the base price is cheaper than market value to begin with. So 50% of that will make them the cheapest prices on the market.